Speaking to a few West Ham fans today, like the normal stuff, but chatting to a few people that are West Ham fans, I think there's a real feel-good factor around the club at the moment. It feels pretty good. I feel that press conference, talked about yesterday, I feel like that's lifted the mood a bit. It certainly has for me anyway. I really saw that as a sort of a blueprint, as it were. This is a new West Ham, as we're about to embark on it. I'm really excited, actually. I thought that Julian Lopetegui came across very, very well, and I like this dynamic between him and Steidten. I don't want to repeat what I've said yesterday, but I do think it's having an effect on people. I think there's a slight belief now that there is a plan at West Ham. We are a club that has something in place to go on and be successful, and I really hope it does work out, because this does feel more like a proper strategy rather than a knee-jerk. We just got someone in, fingers crossed. It feels like that we've done a bit of thinking here. And I really do hope that we are about to see, of course, first and foremost, that we do well results-wise, but it'd be nice to see some good style of football and a bit of a plan going forward for this club, and in terms of strategy, in terms of our recruitment. ExWHUEmployee did provide an update last night, which was subsequently sort of broken news this morning regarding West Ham and a couple of players that we are interested in. I want to focus, first of all, I want to talk about Todibo in a minute, because that's the kind of real big interest and something that sort of new name that's sort of thrown out there now, and it seems like there's actually something concrete happening there, and it looks like West Ham are going to be going back in for him. But I also want to talk about Ivan Toney. This has come from ExWHUEmployee. Now, Ivan Toney, you'll know that we've done a few videos on him leading up to this transfer window, that West Ham have got an interest in Toney. I'll be honest, as much as I admire the player, and I wouldn't have absolutely any problem with West Ham bringing in someone like Toney. I think has been, exceptionally good for Brentford, of course. I actually think he's performed well in the Euros as well when called upon. I've always felt that he was probably going to go somewhere else. I always felt that there would just be a bigger club come in and snap him up, and because it's clear that obviously he is now leaving Brentford, which is obviously confirmed anyway. So I always just felt that was probably a little bit too much out of our reach, not so much even financially, possibly even financially, but I just felt that he would probably want to go and play at the highest level he can get to. That's always been my assumption of the situation, but it feels now that there's a slight change to that in terms of the Toney situation. Let's be honest, no one's bidding for him. There's no talk in the press about Toney being hunted down by a Spurs or an Arsenal or a Chelsea or Liverpool, whatever. There's no one out for him at the moment. And not seeing too much of this. In fact, he's actually quite quiet. Now, I appreciate he's away. At the moment, he's playing, obviously, for England. Maybe that's having maybe an effect, but I just don't know. And X has provided an update on it, and because of the fact there's no bids happening at the moment, maybe his age is playing a factor into that as well. In that West Ham now are starting to emerge as a club that he may be looking at and thinking, do you know what? This could be a really good move for me. And he may well be thinking that now. I mean, one, it's London, so he won't have to move. So that would certainly be an appealing thing. But also West Ham, no disrespect to Brentford. I really admire Brentford, actually. I think they're a great club. But West Ham, in terms of stature, are just a bigger football club. And he may fancy that change and may think, well, do you know what? This is a new era at West Ham. Maybe I can spearhead it. Look, he's 29, so it's not like West Ham are looking to him and say he's going to be our next striker for the next, 7 or 8 years. But he could certainly maybe do a job for the next 3, So it's interesting to see how this is going to pan out. So this is the update from X. He said, Ivan Toney is someone that we've liked for a long time. He made a difference in England, blah, 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 blah. We're talking about when he came on against Slovakia. There have been a number of clubs interested in him. However, they seem to have other targets ahead now of Toney. It's hoped that they will not. It's hoped on the West Ham side of things they're not going to make a move for him. It's now going to, which will significantly increase our chances of getting the player this summer. It's also felt that because he's actually 29 years old and his contract expires next summer, he's going to be available for a fee that's suitable for West Ham. Look, it's still very early days, but you're starting to feel that, do you know what? All I'm saying is, like when before the last season finished, if someone had said West Ham and Ivan Toney, you probably would have taken a little bit of a pinch of salt, myself included. Okay, that'd be good. But the reality is, like I've said,
someone else is going to come in for him and we're going to really struggle. But the longer this window goes on, you're starting to feel that actually, do you know what? If we chance our army, he may fancy it. And look, would it be a bad sign for West Ham? I don't think so. I really don't. I think he's got. We know how good he is and how reliable he is, and his goal scoring ability is fantastic. His hold up play is brilliant. He's someone that could really fit us, and I think it's one to keep an eye on now. I think it's becoming one now that's becoming a more credible option for West Ham. Not to say it will happen. I don't think there's, I'm not sitting there confident thinking we're going to be getting Ivan Toney, but I'm starting to believe that he's an option. There might be an opportunity for us to get this player. So I think from X's update on this is one to keep an eye on at this stage. I don't think it's anything too concrete at the moment. I don't think West Ham we haven't made any bids yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if we chance it. I really wouldn't now. I think that is, even when you've got someone of that quality that could potentially be coming to the club, why not? Why not? Anyway, that's nothing on Toney. As I say, it's still a bit early days to be talking about it in too much detail because, as I say, West Ham haven't put a bid in as yet. But I'll tell you what, we have put a bid in for Jean-Claude Todibo of Nice. Now, he's had an interesting career, Todibo. I always struggle to say his name. In that he was at Barcelona, very highly regarded, and was sort of touted as being a sort of next big thing, And it feels like his career has stalled. He's had to then go on to sort of rebuild it, essentially, hasn't he? At Nice, that's what he's had to go and do because I think he had a few loan spells out, and it's just someone that's needed to sort of get his career on track. And he's definitely gone and done that. I've just got his info up here. So he went to Nice in 2021. Sorry, he went there on loan initially. He played 15 appearances, and then was signed permanently, and he's then gone on to make 100 appearances for the club. And then he's subsequently been then selected to go and play for France. Very, very highly rated defender. So much so that Manchester United have been eyeing him for a long time, and it was highly expected to be going to Manchester United this summer. I think that was always kind of on the cards. They were making a move for him. However, the big twist that's going to really help West Ham in this is that Manchester United will be facing Nice next season in the Europa League. There's a conflict of interest there. So there's a big problem for them in that basically they don't think they can get the deal done. So it's opening the door here for West Ham. Now, West Ham, as far as you understand, the update from X was that we've had a £25 million bid rejected by Nice. This was a move that was predicted would happen today in our update. That's from X. The French club Nice will only apparently talk to West Ham if they make a bid for more than £35 million. The French side want £40 million, really. We were once more of an offer for a player and try and get the deal over the line. Right. So basically what he's trying to say is that we've basically gone in for the £25 million offer. It's been rejected, but they've opened the door and saying, offer another 10 and we can talk. I think West Ham also looking at a possibility of offering a player with this deal as well, possibly a Nye for Gerd and Kurt Zuma sort of possibly as an option to try and get the deal over the line. It's really interesting because when you look at this bid, right, I look at it and think this is because of Kilman. This is called like a West Ham tactic that we tend to do. We kind of go in, you're our number one target, we're going to go for you. And then when the talks sort of slow down, look, we're not going to go that high. And they go, well, we're not going to come that low. And it stalls a little bit. It's like West Ham then go, I'll tell you what we'll do then. We'll go over here and we'll make a bid and see how they react. Put the pressure on Wolves a little bit. I think that's what we do. We did it with James Ward-Prowse, very similar last summer, where we were in talks. We did a couple of bids, and all of a sudden we went, no, we're walking away from the deal. I think you remember it. And West Ham kind of not publicly said it, but they certainly bold leaked the news through to ourselves and other outlets, of course, and saying that we were going to walk away from the Ward-Prowse deal because they want that to go back. They want that in the press. They want that to go back to Southampton. That West Ham are walking away, and I think they're doing the same now with Wolves. So whether it's a play for that, which is what my initial thoughts were, that remains to be seen. However, what is really interesting is that West Ham now are going back in with a second bid for Todibo. Now, it's interesting to know because X has obviously said that if we offer, say, 35 million, then they'll talk to us. So if West Ham go in and offer 35, it shows we mean business. It shows that we're actually going in for a really top, highly regarded defender. I'd be really excited if we got this one over the line, but then it does bring the question is what happens about Max Kilman? The fan base absolutely, I'm talking about West Ham now, are quite strong-minded in general that we're going to be paying too much for Kilman. That if the Wolves are looking for £45 million and we regard that too high, I think that's felt generally across the board actually that is too high. I think West Ham will get close to 40. I think if we get to 40 or not, I think that's what we'll kind of offer in. I still have confidence that deal will happen because he's the player that the manager wants as captain. When I say manager, the head coach, Lopetegui. He wants Kilman as his captain. He's the number one target. I still really believe that's going to happen. So it's strange now what's going to happen with this Todibo offer. Is it smoke and mirrors? Are we trying to do that to get the Kilman over the line? I don't know. It remains to be seen. It's going to be a very interesting one. I'm really interested to keep an eye on because West Ham are going to be moving forward with these bids imminently. So the second bid is about to go in. Whether it'll go in today, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's near the close of play now, so it could be within the next couple of days. I don't know, but it's certainly one that I think we need to be keeping a strong eye on because it's big interest. This isn't just West Ham scouted a player, we're considering it. West Ham have put a bid in and we're going to go in for a second. That's what we've been told. So West Ham then are going to be putting in 2 bids. As I say, improved bids on these players. So we've got Max Kilman and we've got Todibo, who we're going to be going for as well. So I think this is good. West Ham, we know, have to get this back line sorted out. It's a major priority. Kilman's a really a key target for us, not just because of his defensive qualities, but also he's a leader. We need a captain. Kurt Zouma is not going to be the captain of the club going forward. So West Ham needs to get it addressed. And let's be honest, there's no one else, apart from Edson Alvarez, who I personally would like to see made the captain, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're looking towards Kilman. So I think it's a case now of watching this space in the next few days because it's an interesting time. I know that there's a bit of frustration around that we haven't got enough deals quite there yet, but I do think it's going to happen. There's quite a few more to come through the door. So yeah, interesting update from X, and I think there's going to be plenty more to come. So yes, let's keep it going. Come on, your irons.